Our relationship with the Palmer, I think, really started when they opened the Palmer Opera House, back up now. And we started playing, I believe we played at their first open mic night. It was, what, like 7 years ago?
Whatever the first, a long time ago.
Yeah,
First one.
yeah. We started playing.
Open micer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We would come and
We
play.
met at open mic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not this one.
Right.
Yeah,
One from Olean, but we like met at an open mic. We were just at the time we were just covering ridiculous songs. And,
Like what?
Spice Girls,
Yeah,
Backstreet
just a lot
Boys.
of-
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, but that's good. Kind of like just inverting the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. We tend to like what we like to do is like take a lot of like weird '90s stuff and make it into bluegrass songs. So it kind of like
But that totally works.
it works because a lot of it's very dancey and it has that straight forward.
Yeah, it has to.
So like I can turn that into a jumpier.
So both of you guys are guitarists, and you both play just or
I'm a singer, trumpet player in our other band that actually we're playing at the Opera House with our other band next weekend.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, the whole 5 piece, yeah.
Okay. So your relationship with the Palmer then goes for how many years now?
When did it open?
Right.
So did you at a open mic when the Palmer first? I mean, you didn't meet here at the but
Right.
soon after you were.
It was
Palmer.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was probably less than a year after we started playing together that we were playing at the
Did you do
Palmer.
gigs here or open mics or?
Both. So we've done a few gigs here for different, I forget what the benefits were that we did here.
Yeah, just a plethora of.
Yeah. And then obviously the Nutty White production things, we do a lot of those, as does like the bass player in our band and other musicians from our other band are all very closely involved with individuals who help run the Palmer. So my dad actually is on the board and kind of.
It's amazing what's happened here.
Yeah.
I mean, how it's drawn the community together. And how it's become a hub for the culture and the population here. I mean, and I love the variety that they get. Because they pull from all strata. I mean, they're going to have a trivia night and it's going to pull a whole different crowd.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to play and that's a whole different crowd. They have this performance, that's a whole different crowd.
Yeah.
And you don't get that. I did Gowanda. So my show was called Small Town, Western New York. And in Gowanda, they have the Hollywood Theater there. It's this beautiful 20-year restoration that they did. But they're stuck because it's seated. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not really a community center. And the owner was actually telling me, he's like, there's nothing we could do because we had to put this back the way it was. All the grants we had were all historical grants. We had applied to all that.
Yep.
Right.
But there's so many opportunities that we can't take advantage of because we don't have the floor space. And here, it's essentially like a gym. It's just a hall.
Yep.
It's an old-fashioned hall, really. So, and that's the benefit of it. And the people here are amazing.
Oh,
Charles and Eddie and Dave and Mike and Eric.
Yeah.
I mean, just go right down the list.
Oh, absolutely.
and
And everyone's very dedicated.
It's definitely a give and take between a lot of us because I have a music shop in Olean.
Dude, you're kidding. I never stopped in there. So I was going to stop in there for sponsorships. I just released the Olean show. You can see it on my website.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to go and probably we're in March. So like mid-April, it's going to start hitting the air and it'll just play indefinitely for a few years.
Cool. Yeah.
But what they've done there is crazy.
Yeah. It's slowly we're building up little by little.
Congratulations, man. That's your shop?
Yeah.
Why did you start that?
$2,000 on each of our credit cards.
Damn, that's how I started this. Same thing.
It really is, but like it's co-owner, me and Connie. She's
The bass player.
Bass player in our band. We started it on a whim, just because the local music shop closed,
Right.
and we've been open for 6 years, but we've moved places. We've gotten grants and slowly just started building a little more. But with here, how Nettie has been awesome, especially with Beat City. Beat City Music is what it's called.
Right.
And she's been teaching now piano lessons there for
she
us.
teaches us.
Yeah.
So, but that came after you had her. Right.
Yeah. And so it's just a big give and take of like we do stuff for each other. Like we'll do free gigs here if it helps,
That's what it's all about.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of that is, I mean, with the corporatized businesses that have taken over, I grew up with small music stores. Right. There's nothing like a small town, hometown music store.
Yeah. And it's especially hard now that I'm in the thick of it. It's to be a mom and pop shop, these days with the internet and everything, it's just kind of hard to beat. So we've been expanding more on like lessons and group classes and all that.
Yeah, the music school is really.
Yeah, one of the guys that was here for the open mic, I was doing an interview, picked up a mic, and he took a songwriting workshop there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's something you're just not going to get at guitars.
Right.
And even if we do, who cares?
Right.
But it's not the same.
And I'm like in the midst of getting a recording studio opened.
He's a sound engineer. That's
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's just like a bunch of combinations of.
That was my dream when I had my studio.
Right.
I converted an old cottage. I lived upstairs and the studio was downstairs.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this would be so awesome if I could have a record shop, a music store, and a studio.
Yeah.
Because it all works. I mean, because each business is going to feed each other.
Yeah, it all kind of intermingles.
Do you have the space for it there?
It's a tight space, but
Well, that's all digital. You can
I've got a pretty good grant just for the studio from the county.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to put a good chunk of change just into sound, baffling and the
Congratulations,
and stuff. So it's almost there. Probably another month or so, and I'll be able to.
But that's fantastic, man. Yeah. I think, where is that? No, never mind. That's a different town. There's a guy who's opened up something similar to that, but it was more for podcasting. So in as much as people say that business is dead, the studio business, it's not dead at all.
Right.
Because it's so different than what I do. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's got a phone, so everybody's all of a sudden a videographer. But to really do this, and you really use the gear is a whole other thing. It is just like a recording studio. If you really want to
You can buy all the stuff, but you
got to use it. It's a curve, right? Adaptation, at least, So that's great. And then how about you? Are you outside of like the band? Are you involved in the music community at all?
I'm involved with the band stuff, yes, but I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the area, so I actually have a private practice in Cuba, off of the lake where I see clients, and then I'm a school counselor during the weekdays. So kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's intense. Do you guys find any time to rehearse, or is it like 1, 2, and
we literally don't rehearse anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like we've been playing together for so long.
It's pretty bad. It's like we're just really lazy bums at this. We're real.
it's like a whole cheap trick thing?
Yeah,
So they have
yeah.
rehearsal.
Yeah.
That's their first rehearsal.
Exactly.
We have like a bunch of different things. Like I play in, Oh brother.
Sure. Yeah, which people are like all the time.
Yeah. So it's. But we may do.
That's awesome.
We practice more with our 5-piece.
Yeah. So now your relationship with the Palmer. So you do have a relationship with them. You know Michelle and you know Nettie, and you have a personal relationship with them too. So what do you think the impact has been? So you guys, because you were early on in the Palmer, so what do you think the impacts have been over the last 7 years or so?
The amount of new music coming in is like it's better because there was a gap in this area of 10 plus years of not having acts just roll through. It doesn't have to be big acts, just someone that would want to stop here and play. And there wasn't a good place to do that.
Sure.
So since they revamped this, it's like the perfect place for it.
It is, and they can pull national acts in here, because it's just the right size.
Right.
So if you get a big indie, it's perfect for them.
Oh, yeah.
And they take care of everybody too. And I think that's the other thing. It's not just they're not slapping them in here, but then throwing them in a bathroom. You got a great room. They feed you. They take care of you.
Yeah.
Like hanging out with family almost. They really are that warm and welcoming, and especially in Cuba. I think that it's helped to build a lot of the other businesses in the area, honestly, because when they started, we had no bars, which, especially for 20 somethings, 30, well, anyone nowadays, we had 0 bars, on the main drag, especially. There were some like down, near closer to the lake, but there's nothing here. And a lot of the storefronts were completely barren. And when they started to build this back up, we saw more like just really interesting shops start to pop up down this main street. So
Community driven.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing the episode on the impact of the businesses. Because I don't know if you've ever talked with Mike about this, Mike Doyle, who started all this. His whole subversive idea with this is, he told me in an interview that he wouldn't even have done this if it didn't have a business incubation aspect to it. Because that's really what his idea was here, is that if I build a Palmer, we're going to layer this business structure that we're going to have in the township. So we can have these individual boutiques, we can have larger businesses, we can have businesses that speak to a regional audience or businesses that speak to a specific audience, and just build up the community here.
It was pretty genius because there was nothing. Like,
so much-
a lot of us left. We were just like, what? There's nothing here. You know, the closest thing you can get to any sort of nightlife entertainment or live music was to go 20 minutes away to Olean. But even then, there wasn't really a place like this. There's no place like this around.
Yeah, and so have you met Lionel and Terry?
No.
So there's these two guys. They were living in New York, and one was a lawyer, and the other one worked for a huge company, and he was in marketing. He was pretty high up, and they moved here from New York City, and they've been buying up properties here. And so Ida Hands is their thing, and actually about 3 or 4 of these buildings are they're doing. Yeah,
Ben.
no, I haven't
Oh
yet.
my gosh, if there's a supper open when you're around, jump on that.
Yeah, they catered. I think they catered the commerce meeting, the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, probably.
So, yeah, it was
So
really good. But so those guys moved here specifically on the heels of the Palmer's, you know, like the infrastructure that they're building. And then Terry and Lionel built up another 4 buildings worth of apartments and businesses, and they own the business center down here as well. And that investment was huge. I mean, they got a $300,000 grant. They just started gobbling up businesses, and you know, people were ripping on them, saying, "Well, how can you build $1,000 high-end a month apartment in Cuba?"
Right.
And there's a waiting list now for them.
Right.
You know, so it just goes to show. And then a lot of the kids go down to from Allegheny, will come here from St. Bon's and the colleges in Old Jason. Yeah, they'll come here to the coffee shop. You know, it's just crazy, like how you're just polling now because you've built it and you've got this beautiful little scene going on.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and where did you, like when you first started playing here, was the Palmer like relatively just getting off its feet, struggling? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, it was struggling. Their PA was like a thing. Yeah.
oh, so wait, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so there was a little bit, but now they have like their own, you know, everything's set in stone.
See, nobody's ever mentioned this before. So as a musician, so did they have a front of house system at all?
And they did. It was just like a.
Remember,
Was it underneath?
we were sat down on the floor for a lot of stuff. We weren't even using the stage for a lot of it. And there was just, like 2 speakers hanging. I'll have to look at the old, I just saw an old video pop up on my Facebook the other day of us playing there from that way back. From like 6 or
If you
7 years ago.
could send that to me, we'll stay in touch. But if you could send it to me, I'll overlay that on this because that'd be a
Absolutely.
really nice contrast to what they're building now and what you guys really witnessed when you first started playing here. And that's the point of doing this, to show like how this has grown, the impact that this has had on the community, and how it's just drawing people to Cuba again. You know, and everybody says the same thing, that this town was dead. There wasn't even a pulse here.
Right.
You know, and now they're getting a brewery across the street.
Right.
I saw that. I was really excited that things are coming back here. Like back in the day, we had like 2 kind of almost dirt floor bars, and it was like almost
sketchy.
So it was really bad.
Yeah.
But you know, like one of them burned down. The other one is now like a Lego brick store, or was. I don't know what's going on there anymore. I don't know. It was sad. It was sad what was going on here because it's a beautiful little town.
It is. Well, and we're all, you know, part of the same generation. So essentially, because I did the same thing. I just got out of here, was Boston, went out to California. And then at one point I was like, okay, I've got enough experience. I want to come back and see if I can make any difference here. But I think there's been tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people throughout like New York, because they always say, oh, people are leaving. Well, there's a lot of people that are emigrating back areas of the country that are doing the same thing. And just like Lionel and Terry did, you know what I mean? They came here from New York City because they loved the town. They saw improvement. It was the right place at the right time. Yeah. And so when you grew up here, you saw a decimated town. Yeah. It really had no infrastructure anymore. It had no culture. There was nothing to do. It was a typical small town situation, right? And you just wanted
I wasn't from here, but like when I was young, I would play in punk bands and stuff, and they had like one pizza joint that would play, and that's all I knew about this place because I never had any reason to know.
Where did you grow up?
In Olean.
Oh, you were up.
Yeah, but it was just like, why?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why would it go? My friends.
Yeah. Was there any scene in Olean either?
At the time, there was. Yeah, there was an art space, and there was. It was more, you know, DIY driven.
Okay. Yeah, we did Tri-County for my special, actually.
Okay.
The Tri-County Arts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and they were around then too, right? I think.
They were to a degree,
But
not in the same spot either. But yeah, it was a whole different thing with, it was actually like a bunch of punk kids' parents that kind of made a little,
Oh, you kidding?
yeah, there was a little committee to open this art space to play.
That's awesome.
And there wasn't, they had a crappy PA in there, but
Yeah.
it was something, it was awesome.
That's
I played there twice a month, pretty much. Like, we opened for bands that I still listen to today.
Oh, that's-
I played with bands that are huge now. Like, it's cool.
Who'd you play with?
Lemuria was a big
Yeah.
They were like a pop punk from the time, but they got pretty big. Screaming Females.
Yeah. It's awesome when you're coming up like that too, because you never know who's going to break out.
Right, exactly.
You're all kind of same.
It's just interesting, yeah. There's just like, see these like stinky dudes just
And I was hoping when the internet kind of took off that it wouldn't change. I don't think it's changed much. I think it's still like there's still that element.
Oh, yeah,
Just
for
get in a van. Just what we did. Just got in a van. You just booked your own tour and just slapped flyers on everybody's doors that you could and handed them out and just did the legwork. So you did all of that then.
Yeah, when I was in the high school and in college, I did.
Yeah.
But after about, I graduated in '08.
Right.
So that was like, and then about 2012, it started waning. It's just that the art space got shut down. They couldn't pay.
Right.
People weren't paying.
Well, and so to speak to that and tie that into the Palmer,
Right.
Because I told Eric and I was telling Michelle this. I've been here about 8 times so far doing this, and they're creating a scene here. And it doesn't matter where you are; it just needs one space to create a scene, And they are doing that, but they're doing it in such a diverse way that it's actually a huge. It's a huge undertaking. It's not just music; it's every aspect.
It's crazy how hard they work at all these specific.
Yeah, and they're successful at them. And I don't think they see it because they're in a goldfish bowl, so it's so incremental that they're not seeing the success. And then I come in at this level, and I'm like, holy crap! There's a lot going on here, and they're getting the support from the community, and the community is reciprocating what they've given to them. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So-
The volunteers really help immensely too. Like both my parents are on the board and volunteer here.
Yeah.
And they're here a few times each week, just doing trivia, running the concession stands, helping with sound, doing all of these different things that, kind of give them a purpose as retirees.
So you grew up in a household that was like that though too, right? I mean, that was kind of their mindset. Giving back and community oriented.
Oh, absolutely. We've always been part of that and part of kind of, the theater groups and making sure that we, do our local music venues and volunteer wherever we can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you guys make a good team then. Because I think they have the same ideology that both of you guys. Yeah. So speak about basically like what it's like to play the Palmer. It's a good room, right? I mean,
It's always good.
yeah. And the sound is fantastic.
Yeah, like, and this is I play at open mics every now and then, and you go to I go to like an Irish bar and play, and it's usually pretty loud, rowdy, but I go to this one and I'm playing something a little more maybe intimate, kind of music, like maybe I'm finger picking something slower, because people will just listen. So that's just a whole different crowd.
Yeah.
And we need that.
You're the third guy who said that. So the third performer that said, I love playing here because people listen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like, why? Because I mean, you played bars for years and I played for two decades.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it doesn't matter. Like sometimes you're just not being heard.
Well, yeah, it's the difference is like my original stuff is pretty folky, low key stuff. But like I play out and we have fun doing the 90s stuff.
And that's super cool.
It's great.
Bar, right?
Yeah, but I can't take that to an Irish bar.
And you're trying to play your soul.
They won't hear me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So like, but every time, if I write something new, I always try it out here.
And that shows though that, the element that they're building here. They're building up space that people will come to because they care.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And for a performer, that's what you want, because that's going to give you a core audience. And especially nowadays with social media, you only need that core audience.
Yeah.
You know, everything can kind of spread from there, which is the beauty and the difference of when I was coming up, because the internet was just kind of getting going.
Yeah.
And we didn't have all these tools that,
And I go so far in your top 8 of your MySpace.
Yeah, you just could only do so much. But now it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you guys want to add anything of your own about the Palmer?
I think even as a listener, especially during open mics or when we're here listening to other bands, it's such a comfortable and just safe and warm space to be in compared to other places that sell alcohol or food when you're sitting down and listening. It is about the performers, and it creates an artsy environment, you know, and I don't know if you can really emulate that in other spaces in the area like bars or even restaurants. Like, this just brings art to a new level for this area.
Yeah, I don't think you can replicate it. And I think scenes just kind of happen, you know. I mean, you need the right element with the people. You need the people that want to support it. And Allegheny is just, I have the theory, beautiful places attract beautiful people. And I'm not talking cosmetically, just in your heart and your soul. And Allegheny has that element to it. You know, and when I was in California, it was the same thing. Like, I moved to these towns and there were so many beautiful artists there that were doing so much good work. But they were always these most beautiful places. And I was just like, oh, wait a second. Because New England was the same way. You know, I moved to a little seaside town and there's all these artists there doing all this great work. And I know it's kind of unsaid, but I think Cuba's like that. There's so much here in Allegheny County, but it just goes unnoticed and everybody's just doing their thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you have a couple catalysts like the Palmer, and then you start building in a way that gets noticed. And the trick is not to blow it out.
Right.
As I was telling Michelle, I was like, keep building, but don't get to a point where it just stay in control of this.
Yeah.
Because at one point it can. You know, I start doing this, you know, the news stations start coming down, papers start picking up on it. I wrote an article for the Buffalo News last year and it got a lot of response, and I'm doing this, and there's other stations that are going to start doing stuff. So it's, you know, you don't want to turn Ellicottville's great, but you don't want it to turn into Ellicottville.
Right. No. Right.
Because that's Main Street USA, Disney. This is real and this is authentic. And that's what will draw people to this. And people will be protective of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, as they should be. Because nowadays the tendency is just blow it out, blow it up, and then on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that with this. It's too special. You know. So do you guys do any other performance stuff? Do you act or write or?
Just no. I'm just straight.
Well, you assume that your business, I'm sure.
It's,
and then you've got 3 jobs essentially.
Yeah. I also am working on like sound healing with
that?
like crystal bowl.
Oh yeah.
Type sound healing and sound bathing right now.
So have you had experience with that, like yourself personally?
Yes, I've done it a few times and absolutely loved it. So being a musician and being kind of just interested in it, skeptical because I have a science brain, but interested has kind of led me to.
You just took the words out of my mouth too, because as a musician, like, I mean, it's no different than getting chills. Right. When you get them deep and health, and it just how it affects you and how music can really change your DNA and rewire your brain and your heart and your soul. So as a musician, you have to be more given to that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's becoming very popular.
It is. And I at first kind of rolled my eyes and I was like, what?
It's another thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I did it, and I don't know if it's because I love music so much.
Right.
But it made me feel something. So I am a believer and I do enjoy it. So that's something that I'm starting to work into.
That's cool.
Practice as well, which I think so.
See, and they do stuff like that here.
Yeah.
You know, at the pot, like she does everything. Yeah. I mean, Michelle is serious, gives out the space. If someone wants to use it, we'll do it.
Oh yeah. They've done everything. They've done yoga here.
Yeah, they still do every week.
Painting.
Yeah.
They do. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what it's about. It's about building the community and building the community spirit. So are you guys going up first or who's first?
Yeah.
Are you?
20 whole minutes for opening.
Are you?
Yeah. We don't even know what we're playing yet. We're just going to dash it. Chumps.
Would you just do this set list right before you go on? Or do you call it out as you go?
Well, we usually call it out as we go. But today we're actually going to write it out.
Oh, that's
so that we
all
don't-
6 songs.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's good though, because you can read a room that way and call it as you go.
Right.
That's one.
Yeah. We used to do that too, because you're just like, you don't know what you're going to get
We'll
into.
have a few, like 4 or 5 together, and then feel it out after that. Yeah.
Awesome. And, is your website linked through your store, your own personal like music, or?
No. So I haven't released all my own stuff yet.
Okay.
I have an original band.
Okay.
That's on like Spotify and all that stuff.
Okay.
But I'm going, as soon as I get my studio up, I'm going to start recording.
Oh, congratulations on that, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome. You know what? I didn't even want to stop in because I was like, I had all my sponsors. I was like, dude, I'm going to be in there 4 hours. It's a small town music store, and you don't really see them anymore.
Right.
You know, I mean, you got to get people that are just in there, just.
We see a lot of the same faces. That's the ones that are there, you know, getting strings every other day. The musicians that are playing.
Sure.
That's what's great is we have, because we were musicians in the community for so long, we already have these connections with other musicians. Like we've played with everyone around this area. So it kind of just all comes back.
You could do a lot of strings and chords and picks and
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no different than any other business. That's kind of like bread and butter stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're, you know, playing and you're like, oh crap, I got to go get a pack of strings. It's not internet.
I've had
You have
people
access to it.
I've had people, you know, text me like I'd have to deliver strings at, you know, 8:30 at night because it's like,
Yeah, there you go.
Their music school is incredibly special though. Like what they've grown there is wild. Like they have children's percussion days where like 3 to 5 year olds come in and they just do percussion and start teaching music to really little kids.
That's
it's really
amazing.
It's really
So did you start this with the intent of that being an element within
We
it?
wanted to do some community stuff, but when we started, we weren't business heads. We're musicians
Nobody
that
is.
were like,
Yeah.
we need a music shop.
Sure.
Let's try this.
Well, you
Like,
throw it to the wall.
yeah,
You're not what you
but over time, you know, we've had help from some, you know, we actually got this like business accelerator, the Lane Business Accelerator that was launched through Bonaventure.
Okay.
We had just business classes, and it was a grant too. So we got
That's
money for
great.
plus business classes. And,
Okay. Was that hard to get? I mean,
it was, yeah, there was through, I think he said 60 some applications. There were 9.
Wow,
Chose.
never accepted.
And we all every week we went to their hub, and all the businesses sat and we talked every week about what's going on with the businesses. Yep. They'd have special guests and stuff come and talk about certain things of
Well, then that's
housing or
crucially valuable.
yeah, just stuff that, you know, we don't know. I didn't go to school for that.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Yeah, and even if you do know, it's always good to get some other perspective.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, get your specific right before you do anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
so we were pushed to be like, maybe we should try something different. We need to like start.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good stuff happening in Oregon. I mean,
It's starting to build out for sure, and that's what I'm saying about the slump. Like after around 2010,
Right.
it just plummeted, and there was nothing for a long time.
Right.
A long time.
And that's what I mean. It just happens, and people just siphon off because of that.
Yep. And then they kind of they're like, well, this place sucks. They're,
Yeah.
you know, like
What are you going to do? I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can't expect somebody, if there's no jobs and there's no culture and there's nothing really there for you,
yeah.
you're going to leave. I mean, it's just human nature, you know. But then if you rebuild it, they are going to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
You know, and it's going to enrich the people that are there too. And I think that's the most important thing. The people that stuck to that town, you know, really more than anything, that's your core constituency, right?
Yeah.
And really more than anything, doing it for them. But you're going to get that halo effect of all those other people. Like, holy crap, there's something that's not.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I mean, I know that you've got the Beef and Barrel there or whatever, and you've got those other restaurants
Yes.
that have been there.
been there for long.
Yeah, and you know, weathered all those storms, but you need all those new businesses, you know, and that's what's happened here. So from Olean to Cuba, what is it, like a 20-minute? So it's within, like, it's not out of the question to just pop over here.
I don't know.
Right?
No.
That's a pretty easy drive.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the talk.
Yeah,
That was great.
thank you.
Yeah, that was really
Glad you're
nice to
doing
meet you
that.
guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Michelle, I did the thing for my show, and I was so impressed with these guys. We talked to Mike Doyle. I did an interview with him. In the tour, I met Dave Crowley and Michelle Paul, and we just hit it off because it's the same mindset. And we're all kind of the same people. I mean, same thing with you guys. And we're trying to like help in any way we can. So I released the show. She loved it. She gave me a call and she's like, "Look, can you want to do more on the Palmer?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's done. Of course I will." So we had a bunch of meetings and we figured out, you know, history, business incubation, and then like public use, you know.
Well, and they do a lot of like they do a lot of benefits, which is awesome, but their hearts are just in the right place. My husband got stage 4 cancer a year and a half ago.
Is he okay?
He's good. He's good. But they were one of the first, like my dad's calling me and saying, Michelle wants to know how we can put a benefit together. Like Nettie wants to know where to send money. Like all of them.
They don't
jump
even
in.
hesitate. Yeah.
No, not even. They don't even stop to think
It's
about
old
it.
school. I grew up in a restaurant.
Real community.
Yeah, dude, that's what it is. I grew up in the restaurant. It was the same thing. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
My dad wouldn't even, it wasn't even a thought. If somebody needs help, then you help them. It's over. That's it. You know, you just do it and you make it happen because you could talk all day long and nothing's going to get done. Or you can just go ahead and do it. It's no different than you with your store, right? Like, what the hell I'm doing? You would open up a store.
Right, yeah.
But you figure it out. And if your heart's in it and you really want it, it works. It did. You know?
And we've seen it through the years with the Palmer, especially like Dill, you've even seen, like they've jumped so quickly on like doing benefits and stuff for people. Like we've been involved in playing with a lot of benefits here over the years and like scholarship benefits for like our one friend, they did a scholarship benefit and, you know, they're just always willing to jump in on that.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that for them. I mean, that's all. You're probably part of their people that they're going to depend upon.
Yep. We're happy to.
You know?
We always get the call.
Yeah. And that's how you build a good community. You know what I mean? Because you can't, if that wasn't there, then it's just too much work and people drop out. But you know, they have a group of people that they can depend upon.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I think that's what makes this whole thing work. You know, I mean, Nettie was telling me the same thing. She's just like, there's just so many people involved with this, you know, all the way out to the periphery that we can call when we need them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that shows the value, like how much people really love and respect the work that's been done here.
Yeah.
And the value that this brings to the community and to Allegheny County.
Absolutely.
To the region.
Yeah.
You know, like you were saying, like you need a place. And before this, what was there?
Right.
I mean, did you have anything in Olean other than
a bar scene that really like there was
there's no performance?
There's nothing.
there
like
wasn't a
this. There's no-
performance spot. No.
Yeah. And where people will frequent it.
Right.
And listen.
Yeah,
Right?
just like if you knew that there was something going on every weekend or every other weekend or something like that, where it was going to be a new experience.
Right.
No, there was nothing like that.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening here too, because I was talking to a lot of the patrons, and they're like, well, you know, I just show up.
Yep.
Because they have something to do, and it's cool, and we're here, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
You don't like it, you don't like it, but it's more often than not, you're
gonna
pretty
like it.
surprised
Yeah.
what you saw.
Dude, even the trivia night, like people were having a
Yeah,
blast
they
here.
love.
Yeah,
My
it was
parents are
awesome.
crazy about trivia. They're into
I
it.
had never been to one, and the place was totally packed.
Yeah.
Everybody was having so much fun, and that's what it's about, you know. And you could tell, like, the community spirit was there.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't expect any of this when I first met them. You know, I just knew it was a cool rehab theater, and all of a sudden it turns into this whole other level.
Yeah.
You know, and how it's really like it's the byline for this series is the heart of Cuba. You know, because they really put the heart back into Cuba.
They did. They did, absolutely.
It's like they were going to make this into a parking lot.
Yeah. Yep.
And now they're going to need a parking lot for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I use that?
Absolutely.
That's a great line. That's perfect. Though, because it's true. We were talking about this with Mike. Like, you know, it's like the It's a Wonderful Life, like alternate reality. Like, what would have happened if they just put a parking lot here? And you don't think about the exponential like line that this has for decades now. This is going to affect the community. It's going to affect generations. But if you put a parking lot in here, what would that have been like?
Yeah.
You know, and what would that have done to the town? And instead, now you have this, and it's just a beautiful story of not giving up.
Yeah.
And sticking to your guns and seeing things through. And then Mike with his beautiful subversive idea.
Yeah.
If we can bring the business community back, we're going to do it. And this is how we're going to do it. And he did it.
Yeah.
You know, so, and you guys are part of it. So that's awesome. I'm glad I talked to you guys. I didn't realize you were like regulars here when you introduced me to you. So,
Yeah.
and that's important because that's what this is about. A lot of musicians that we're talking to, this is kind of your place. You know, as much as it's anything, it's really a performance hall.
Yeah.
Trivia is good, and a psychic fairy is good, and yoga is good.
Right.
This is really a music hall.
Yeah.
Bingo doesn't sound good in this room.
Right.
So, awesome, man. Thank you guys. That was great, man. Cool. All right.
And it probably the episode goes to a half hour.